Hello there, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to take a look at a feature of the Q package. So in Q, there is a notion of an arrival node. And the arrival node is where the new customers or whatever flows through your network are generated, and then they enter into the rest of the network, into one of the user specified nodes. And it is possible for such customers to get rejected from entering that system via bulking. And so it is not necessarily the case when there's a limited capacity queue that if we set a method of simulate until max time, max customer, where the method is arrival, that those will only count the number of such customers that were spawned at the arrival node and not necessarily those that actually got accepted into the network overall. So the method for accept is to fill in that case of saying, what if we wanted to simulate 30 or whatever number of customers actually being accepted into the network, which could be valuable for basically when you need to know what is the behavior of a system after a certain amount of demand has entered, which may not be the same thing as the amount of demand that has been kind of exposed to the system. So the system may just be rejecting some of the demand. Okay, so let's go and step through this example. First, we need to import the Q library, and then we're going to use this API create network to define our network. And here we've got an MM1 queue with a queuing capacity of 3. And we'll set our seed number for the simulation. We'll initialize an instance, instantiate, if you will, one of these simulation objects, and then we'll simulate until max customers. Still keeping this at 30, but now our method is accept rather than arrival or arrive. Then we'll grab some records just to take a peek at some results, and we're going to grab the length of the number of records. Get the length of the set of records that had record type service, that there was some kind of service provided. We're also just going to grab all of the ones that are in the system, and then we'll also grab the ones that were rejected. And that's where we'll see that there should in principle be some difference between accept and arrival. So let's run the example. And you can see that the number that received service was, in this case, 28. And then we've got the number of customers that are at node 1, that is our node that we specified in our API up there, that there's only 2. And then you see that there's 9 that were rejected. So if you think about that, we set the max number of customers to 30. But if you look at these numbers here, they do not add up to 30. They add up to greater than 30. So that's because the number of rejections are not counted towards this simulation termination condition of when we stop the simulation. So hopefully that provides you some insight into how you can simulate for a certain amount of accepted demand into a service, even when there is finite queuing capacities for which rejections might happen some of the time, and you want to account for that. Instead of trying to write some of your own kind of custom wraparound code for Q, Q provides a method to do this. Now, one last little reminder is that in comparison to simulate until maximum time has occurred, where there you don't know how many customers are served, but you do know how long the simulation time ran for. This is going to be one of those cases where you know how many customers were accepted. You don't necessarily know how many were rejected, and that you will know instead how many are accepted, but the amount of time that's elapsed in order for that to happen could be random. Okay, with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.